Good afternoon, my fifth grade. How you doing? Yes! Yes! You guys are awake and excited. All right, so we have our 2 sheets of paper we're going to use to take notes on. You saw the protractor and the pencil and all the wonderful colors of highlighters. That's what we're going to be using today. Let me zoom in here nice and tight and close on what I'm doing. Today is the 18th of September. Please date your notes so you can put them in the right order in your notebook. And the title of today's lesson, I will learn how to speak, I promise, is classification. And we're going to be classifying angles and their relationships.
I don't need that.
All right, notice I've given myself a nice big border here on the left. I would like to write down the side right here. Angles. We're going to start with angles. Angles. So this section is all going to be about different types of angles. First type of angle I want to let you know is the acute angle. We've got like 4 or 5 vocabulary words. I'm going to run through them real fast and then we'll draw a picture. So acute. It's an angle with a measure less than 90 degrees. After acute, we have right. That's also an angle, but it has a measure exactly 90. I'm going to all caps the word exactly, because even if it's the tiniest bit off, it's not right. It's not wrong either, it's just not the right angle. Lame joke, sorry. The next type is obtuse. It's an angle with a measure more than 90. And we'll get more specific with that later because it's also less than 180, but I'm not going to write it down. I'm just going to write that it's more than 90. And the last one is a straight angle, and this is an angle with a measure exactly 180. So as you can see by the way I wrote it down, acute is the smallest, right is kind of our first big landmark, obtuse is bigger than right, and straight is kind of where we end. Take your protractor. And hopefully you've got the kind with the big hole in the center. Okay, that's the kind I would like that makes this easiest. I'd like you to set it kind of in the center of your paper and trace that inside hole for me. Okay, so you're kind of tracing the inside of your protractor. There it is. There's our protractor. We need to give some landmarks, so I'm going to mark where the 90 degree is. And on this style protractor, it's really easy to find. They have big marks for me. So there's my 90. And I'm going to connect those with a straight line segment. I'll make that line segment stick up just a little bit. While I'm here, I'm also going to make the base of my little protractor drawing a little bigger. There we go. And I'm going to make these rays. All right. I'm going to zoom in tight on my picture now. This side we're going to label 0. This side we're going to label 180. It's like a backward speedometer. And then this up here was 90. So those are our big guideposts. So the acute angles live over here. So when you're measuring and you've put your base angle here at 0, if it's somewhere between that 0 line and that 90 line, it's an acute angle. So the other side of your angle, that other ray that makes up your angle, is going to end up somewhere in that area. Right angles are going to end up exactly on this line right here. They're very picky about where they live. Okay? They have to be right on that line. If they're not happy. They're not right angles. And the obtuse ones are going to live somewhere in this area. So you have one side of your angle sitting on the 0, and the other side, the other ray, is going to be somewhere kind of in this area between 90 and 180. The straight angles also have a special place to live. They live down here on this baseline. That's where the straight angles live. Okay. I'm going to put some color on this just to make it look nice. Need some highlighters. So there's the obtuse. There's the acute. All right. So there's what our notes look like so far. We're done with classifying angles, so I'd like to grab a fat marker or a big highlighter or the side of your pencil or something and put a nice big bar here. You just return whatever you use. Okay, I'm going to scoot it up because now we're going to talk about relationships. They're horrible. Mine's doing okay, thank you. My relationship is good. You want to guess how long I've been married?
10 years.
Ooh, not enough.
17.
Oh, almost. That's a little too high.
15,
19.
Little.
14.
17,
Oh, hang on. Now I've got to remember. Hang on.
13.
13. Yeah, 13 years. 13 years. I had to try to remember. Like, what? Like,
make mine look bad.
that's because I'm older than you are. That's the way. And he and I met when we both wore the same shirt. Think about that. My throwback. Isn't it gorgeous? Okay. Oh, my shirt's from junior high. All right, so our first relationship. He's probably going to freak out. Why are you talking about relationship on your YouTube channel? Come on, woman. Adjacent angles is the first relationship I'd like to talk about with our angles. This way? Okay. Like that? All right. Thank you. So I'm going to take a little protractor or straight edge. Since we're using protractors, you can use the straight part of the protractor. And I'm going to draw some rays. So here's one ray. I'm going to make this my endpoint and this my other. I need angles though, so I'm going to use the same vertex and I'm going to draw another ray. Now adjacent angles have the same vertex and they have one of their sides in common. So here's the vertex that they're sharing, and here's the side that they have in common. The thing that they don't share, that they don't have in common, is this inside stuff. Okay? So the interior of these angles aren't being shared between them, even though they're right next to each other, which is what the word adjacent means. Adjacent means right next to. They're right next to each other. They are sharing a vertex. They are sharing a side, but they're not sharing their insides. That make sense? I'm going to throw some labels on here just for the funs. There we go. Got some labels going on. And let's write that definition of adjacent angles right in here in this blank space I left. We're going to be specific that these angles We're going to be specific that we need these angles to be on the same plane, so I'm going to say that they're coplanar angles, and they have a common vertex, and one common side, but no common interior points. So nothing on their insides are shared between them.
This complaint.
Coplanar. Coplanar. You want me to zoom in just a little bit more? There we go. How's that work? A little better? Is my handwriting getting neater? A little bit? A little bit. Thank you. Thank you. All right. When you're done writing this, give me a thumbs up and put, I'm using a pencil. I'm putting a little wavy bar. I'm not going to go all the way through on my left side. What this tells me is this section is still going, but this part of that section, I'm going to have a small break. Okay? So please put a little thin wavy line, and then give me a thumbs up when you're ready for the next section. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. I got you covered. All right, let's go on to the next. Oh, I handed off the one I was writing with. Okay. The next one is going to be vertical angles. Let's spell this right. Not vertical angels. Vertical angles. Okay. Vertical angles are going to be two non-adjacent angles. So they're going to kind of look like adjacent angles, but they're not adjacent angles. And they're formed by two intersecting lines. And they're going to look like this. Here's one line. Just trying to find a way so it looks pretty. Here's the other line. Okay, I'm going to mark them lines. I'm going to put little arrows. And I'm going to label my angles. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the vertical ones are the ones that aren't adjacent in this picture. So the ones that don't share a common side. So this angle and this angle would be vertical. And this angle, lots to color, and this angle would be vertical. And I have something important. First big important thing of the day on today's notes is the vertical angle theorem. And this theorem says this: vertical angles are congruent. That's it. That's all it says. If they're angles, and if they're vertical angles, them's going to have the same measure. They're going to be congruent. Put your wavy subsection divider and give me a thumbs up when you're ready to move on. Thank you. Thank you, 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 thank you. All right, thank you. All right, I'm going to scoot my paper up a little bit. The last one that I think is going to fit on this page is going to be linear pair. How many angles do you think we're going to deal with a linear pair? Two, because it's a pair. And what kind of thing do you think they're going to form? A line because of that word linear. So, a linear pair are two adjacent angles whose non-common sides, the sides that they do not share, these sides are opposite rays. That was a vocabulary word from a few days ago. Those are rays that go in opposite directions, right? They share an endpoint and they form a line. So I'm going to draw a line. And then I'm going to draw some other ray somewhere sticking up out of it. Ta-da! Linear pair. All right. I'm at the end of my page. I have two more things to give to you. So this is where I need to go to a new page. So there's my new sheet of paper. You are welcome to go to a new page 2. If your marker did not bleed through, you're welcome to use the back of the paper. If it did, I suggest a new sheet of paper. But I'm going to set mine like this so you can still see part of it. Okay, it's actually a new sheet of paper, but I'm going to run it up underneath. Okay, so these are the relationships continued. And the first relationship continued that we're going to talk about is complementary angles. Now, things that are complementary are things that go together very well. And so complementary angles are angles that go together very well, and they go together so well that they form a right angle. So these are any two angles. I don't care where they are, but these are any two angles whose measures add to 90 degrees. So I'm going to draw them. I have to move really fast because we're running up against the bell almost. So I'm going to start with an angle. Let's open it this way. There's my endpoint. There's my ray. Now I get to choose. I'm going to zoom in real tight here on the angle. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing here. Zooming in real tight. I'm putting my vertex finder on the vertex. I'm lining up my zero line with the 0. And now I get to pick any measure that I want between 0 and 90. Is there a particular number you guys want?
40.
40 is what I heard. Or did I hear 84? Okay, 40. All right, 40. So here's my 40 degrees. That's where I want my ray to come out. So now I need to take my straight edge of my protractor, line up the endpoint, line up where I marked my 40, and then connect the two. So now I have an angle that measures 40 degrees. I need to draw another angle. So I'm going to start with a ray, another ray. I can make it totally go a different direction if I want. And I need this ray to have a measure that when I add it to 40 gives me 90. So I need to have its measure be
30.
50.
Oh.
It's okay. I do the same thing. I'm totally with you. So 40 plus 50 is 90. I'm going to scoot my thing over. Here's the 50 mark right here. 50 degrees. I'm going to connect that 50 degree mark with my endpoints. And voila, I have created complementary angles. These are any two angles. Notice they don't need to touch. They don't even need to be anywhere near each other. They didn't even have to be on the same sheet of paper. I could have drawn 40 on my paper and then gone over to my face partner, here's notes, and drawn my other angle, and they still would have been complementary. Okay? Take a pencil. Wavy bar. Last one. In 3 minutes or less. Supplementary angles. Definition looks exactly the same. Any two angles whose measures add to 180. So the only difference between these two relationships is what they add up to. Complementary adds to 90, supplementary adds to 180. And the trick is exactly the same. So I would like you to draw an angle of any measure, measure it, and then draw its supplements. You want to draw an angle that when you add it to the measure of the first angle you drew gives you 180. I'm going to do that with you, and I'll talk myself through it. So I'm going to draw a ray. There's my end point. I'm going to have it open this way. I think I want to do a super skinny ray, so I'm going to put it at 5 degrees. Oops, not 50. 5 degrees. Gonna grab my end point, gonna grab my measurement marking point, and I'm gonna connect the two. There's my angle with 5 degrees. Gonna do the same thing. New ray. Whoops. End point this way. But now I need this ray. Since I chose 5 degrees, I need mine to be 75, so way over here. Don't tell. This one is 175 degrees. So there's what mine looked like. Yours are probably going to look different because you may have chosen different measurements. That's okay by me. We are done with notes for the day.